Welcome to Morning Message for September the 26th. Well, today I run the risk of people thinking even less of me than perhaps they already do. I'm going to tell you two things about myself that might just accomplish that. The first one is that I didn't grow up with animals. Occasionally we might have had goldfish or turtles or something like that in an aquarium, but for the most part we just didn't happen to have any cats or dogs in the house. There were lots of cats and dogs in the neighborhood, and I loved them. I mean, they were fun to play with and cuddle and stuff like that, but I didn't grow up with pets. The second thing that I wanted to share with you is a story that happened to me when I was in my early 20s. I was at a bar with a friend, and he was looking kind of dejected, and I asked him what was up, and he informed me that his cat had died. And I gave absolutely the wrong reaction. I snickered a little, and he gave me a rather disgusted look. And I thought about that, and I realized that the cat that he was talking about was the cat he grew up with. This was the cat that was in his parents' home, and I'm sure there were times that my friend stumbled into the house late at night and nobody else around, but the cat came and greeted him. The cat was constant and a loving presence in his life, and he was naturally very fond of that cat, and that was something that I didn't get at the time, and I have since come to realize just how important pets are in the lives of people and the lives of families, that they really do become very much a part of that family. And when that cat dies, or dog, or whatever the animal is, a true sense of grief, a true sense of loss is experienced. So a number of years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, at St. Paul's Church here in Charlottetown, we started doing Blessing of the Animals service. And it's been interesting. A little bit of anxiety for me because I didn't grow up with pets, but it's still a wonderful experience to have people bring their animals to church for this blessing. This service is usually held early in October, because that's when the day to remember St. Francis is, and he's the saint that's very closely associated with animals and creation. And so the blessing of the animal is usually on St. Francis Day or somewhere near St. Francis Day. And we've been doing it, as I said, for a number of years. Last year was probably my favorite year of doing it, when we actually asked people to bring their pets to the 10 o'clock morning service. And we ended the service with the blessing of the animals. But what was wonderful was what happened after that. People lingered with their pets, and the natural barriers that exist when we're in social circumstances were broken, and people who perhaps hadn't talked to one another before in church began talking about their pets with one another, and there were wonderful little groups of people chatting, and you would see people sort of patting the head of a cat or a dog that someone had brought to church that day. It truly was a really wonderful day, a day when barriers were broken down at the church. So this year, we're faced with the dilemma of how to do that in the midst of a pandemic. And we had a meeting at Parish Council. This was one of the things that came up, and lots of wonderful suggestions of things that we might do. I had difficulty getting my head around some of them, just in terms of, if we advertise this, we might get more than the 50 people we're allowed, because it might be a unique thing that just catches people's imagination. So in the end, we decided that what we would do on the 4th of October is have our usual service in the morning and have it live streamed on Facebook, And then after communion, so still a part of the service, kind of the prayers after communion would be an opportunity to bless animals. And our hope is that people will be at home with their animals, bring their animals to the computer or the device that you're watching the service on, and have them hear the blessing and the prayer for our pets. And my hope is that people will, during that service, post pictures of their pets on our Facebook live stream event at that time. I think that would be a wonderful thing to have happen. And it doesn't have to be the pet that's with you. It could be a pet that has passed on. Because we usually take a moment at that service to remember those pets that we've had that have died. So it's okay to share pictures of pets we once owned as well. So I hope, in the spirit of St. Francis, in the spirit of how deeply loving people can be towards their pets, and how deeply loving pets can be towards their owner, that we will, even in the midst of a pandemic, find a way to give thanks and to seek a blessing for the animals in our lives. And so I hope you tune into that service on October the 4th at 10 o'clock on the St. Paul's Facebook page. Until then, God bless. Amen.